Hello guys, today we are going to focus on how to create pyproject.toml file and setup.config file. Why these files? Because we need those files to build our package, to configure our package. So let's start with the first one, pyproject.toml. So what I learned is pyproject.toml is necessary to configure the build system, to build or to know the build system you are going to use for your package, to define it, configure it, and to tell the setup tools, the build tools like pip or condat about your own build system. So here in pyproject, you see something called build system that contains a variable called requires. So this variable is going to use it to define your build system. So here in this package we use something called setup tools, but there are other build systems like Flit and Poetry, and then we use another variable called build backend to perform or to define the object that will perform the configuration. So this file is so important because it's going to tell our setup or our build tools, pip and Poetry, about our package, about our build system, and how you can configure it. Then we will move to the next part. The next file is setup.config file. This file is all about configuration. So it's necessary because it contains some data and options. So here we have the first thing. I think it's very clear, it's very simple to understand. So here is where you can define your package, in terms of name, in terms of version, the operating system is compatible for, the Python version is suitable for, and so on, right? So here we have the name. I think the name is the name of your package. So here I use basic package, but this name is already published on, yes, I already published this package with this name, so make sure you are using a different name like simple package or whatever. Here you are specifying the version, so I try to make it more initial, 0.0.1. Here you can put your name if you are the creator of this package. You can also put your email, yes, of the author, of course, so by using author email, of course, key. And here we have the description, so you can provide very short description. So like I did here, simple example to understand the basics of developing your first Python package. And then you can provide a long description using markdown format. So of course here you can use readme.md file, or maybe you can use restructured based format. So here I'm using readme.md, and also in the next episode we will focus on how we can write a lessons.txt file and readme.md file for our package. So here we have the long description content. So here you can specify the format of this long description file. So we are using text markdown. Also don't forget to use URL. So URL is useful to put your package URL on GitHub or maybe on GitLab. So here the example is from GitLab. So just to be accompanied with your package, and test Python package documentation index. So when people see your package, they can take a look as well at the repository to see the source code. Also you can have other URLs for the issues, for the package issues on GitLab. So here I use the same as I mentioned, and here again you can have a link to your repository. And also another thing more important is the classifiers, because you are going to use this to define the programming language the package use, of course Python, but here what matter is the version of the Python the package is compatible with. Also you can define your lessons file using MIT lessons, and also the operating system your package is suitable for. And here we have something more important, and here is to define where your packages are located in your source code. So here the first option called package directory, this variable is going to use it to define the directory that contains your packages. So here in our case we use src, which means source, and here you can also define the packages using packages variable. So you can, if you have a specific package to include in this package, you can just write list like that and put the name of packages like following. But if you have, if you want to use all these packages, that included in your source, you should just use find colon, and don't forget to define this attribute here using where variable to define the package where or the directory that includes all packages. So that's for this variable packages for options. And then we have the version your package is suitable for or is compatible with. So here I put just 3.6, so anything more than 3.6 my package would be compatible with. So that's all for the setup.config file, but you can find more configuration about it. But here there's another good practice as well. Some people use this content and they paste it here after they define their build system in pyproject.toml. They said that this is a good practice because if you are thinking about changing your build system, I mean here setup tools, to something like Flit or Poetry later, you will not start from scratch again, but you can just change immediately your build system here and put something like Poetry, and the package will work properly without any, without starting all over again. So that can be considered as a good practice. So, but for now, let's keep things, easy. So let's use just setup.config and pyproject.toml in this project, right? So let me control and save. Sorry, let me save this file, and I want you as well to see this documentation from, from Python package documentation index. So they have a good user guide. You can use it, guys, for more details about these classes. So here, for example, you can see each variable and what is used for. So you can take a look at name, the version, the alter, description, long description, project URLs, and classifiers. There are also some links to some other useful resources, same as well for the options category. And also I want to mention something more important you can use, and this is just for your setup.configuration file. There are some other variables you can use as well, so you can take this example. I will leave the link of this resources in the description below. And also here, if you are going to add more classifiers to tell about just information about your Python package, operating system that would be suitable with, and more things, you'll find them here. And yeah, that's all here. So I want to just show you an example of how this can look like in Python package documentation, so or in test pypi. So here you can see that my package is already published. I will discuss this later. I will try to make another episode on how to install or how to upload your package to test py. So here I want just to show you where those links or how this can be useful. So here you can see the alter name, for example, and the alter email. So I will show you this here. You can see here the maintainers. Here's my name, and also for classifiers you can see here the Python version, the lessons, and the operating system. If I go back here, you can see this information are listed here after you publish your package, just Python py, okay? And here we have the lessons, the operating system, the Python years I used Python 3, and also there is something more important, is the URLs we have included in our metadata, which is the project URL on GitLab, and also the issues and the repository as well. So you can find here everything. So you can see here the home page where it will direct me to project on GitLab. So here's the basic package years, feel free to check it out, and you can find everything here, and also other information like the project issues. So if I go back to test py here, I mentioned this impact tracker, and yes, so that's the issues part. So of course there's no issue here, but that's all about it. So yeah, that's how you can configure your project or your Python package, sorry. And for the next video we are going to write readme file, something like this one. So something that will be generated with our package when we publish it. And so this is just a readme file, and we choose to generate this by the same by this one, so long description variable. And that's going to be our focus for the next episode. We will write readme.md file and lessons.txt file. So, and then later we will learn how we can upload and or build our distribution files in order to publish this to test Python or test Python package index, right? That's all for today's episode. Hope you find this useful, and bye for now.
Good as